Hachette Audio presents Waiting on the Moon. Artists, poets, drifters, grifters, and goddesses. Written and read by Peter Wolf.
For Grace and Nora. I'm not such a fool as to not take the moon very seriously. Orson Welles. Prologue. There is a certain conceit involved in writing a memoir, taking on the assumption that one's life is a story worth telling. Over the years, I have found myself regaling others, either at intimate dinner parties, in backstage dressing rooms, or during concert performances, with stories of the fascinating range of people, both known and unknown, I have encountered throughout my life. "You should write a book," was often the response. I made numerous starts. I tried writing longhand, dictating into a recorder, and even using my one-finger typing, but nothing seemed to provide me with any fulfillment. I just couldn't seem to find my voice on the page. I didn't want an as told to or written with book, but after I reread numerous autobiographies, novels, collections of short stories, and my favorite noir mysteries, curiously, they seemed to kickstart my one-finger typing. Finally, one chapter led to another, and another, and another. In Goodbye to Berlin, Christopher Isherwood wrote, "I am a camera with its shutter open." With that goal in mind, I have remained as true to the events and encounters as my memory allows. In recounting the dialogue, I have tried to convey both the tone and essence of the conversations with as much accuracy as I can recall. While writing these chapters, I experienced both joy and sadness. The exultation of rediscovery combined with the realization of the profound loss of the many people who played such important roles in my life. In the past, I've read the acknowledgement pages of many books in which the authors thanked their editors for helping shape the direction of their works. I thought it would be wise for me to pursue an editor of my own who could guide me, help me focus, and keep me from losing faith in completing this endeavor. After many referrals, there were several interesting leads, but surprisingly, I found what I was searching for not with a formal editor, but with a friend, the painter Grace O'Connor, whose talents, vast interest, and enthusiasm for knowledge I greatly admire. During our friendship, we have enjoyed many lengthy conversations, not only about painting, but also about all the arts, and of course the many works of literature, each for our own reasons, we thought were worthwhile reading. It's to her and her sister Nora I dedicate this book. Some things you just can't explain. Look at Cain and Abel, same blood in their vein. Envy always finds its mark. Hate can see clear in the dark. 'Cause everything around here is a growing pain. Everything around here is a growing pain. Growing pains. Some things you just can't explain. 1. I slept with Marilyn Monroe, Miller and Monroe. I was 10 years old when I stood alone on the sidewalk, squinting my eyes and waving up to the 15th floor window of the Rockefeller University Hospital in Manhattan. My older sister Nancy was undergoing treatment for rheumatic fever, and I was too young to be allowed in. Her isolation lasted for more than a year, during which my mother and father made daily visits from the Bronx. After a lengthy discussion with the doctor, my parents left the hospital, concerned that things were not progressing in a positive direction, and were told to return later that day. In an effort to ease their anxiety, my mother suggested we go to the cinema as a distraction. Although I was worried about my sister, the prospect of a trip to the movies was exciting. My parents chose a foreign film, He Who Must Die, a French interpretation of The Passion of Christ, directed by Jules Dassin. The Midtown Cinema was one of those small art house theaters, once scattered throughout New York City. We found our way to a middle row as the lights slowly dimmed and a large red velvet curtain opened to the beauty of the flickering screen. French language credits began rolling and subtitles appeared. But for me, an energetic dyslexic boy, there was no movie magic in sight. A woman in a mink coat and a tall man in glasses rushed into our row. When their view was obstructed by another couple who sat directly in front of them, they moved closer to us until the woman was sitting next to me. I was bored and restless, watching a lot of people jabbering in French. As I munched away on my M&Ms, I became aware of a pleasant and intoxicating aroma coming from the woman beside me. Her exotic scent was utterly captivating, though I had no experience of perfume and how enticing it could be. I accidentally dropped my box of candy, and as I bent down to pick it up, I noticed she was wearing house slippers with a fuzzy lining, and under her mink coat, an ivory silk nightgown bordered in white lace. As I was looking for my candy under the seat, she moved it with a foot, picked up the box, and smiling, handed it back to me. She wore no makeup, and her skin, luminous in the dark, was pale white against her black sunglasses and kerchief, knotted tightly under her chin. As the movie rolled on and my boredom intensified, I felt her head slowly come to rest on my shoulder. I didn't mind, but I was afraid to move, for fear it would awaken the sleepy lady in her nightgown and sunglasses. I stopped eating my candy and sat there, rigid, but then relaxed into the headiness of her perfume, stronger and even more aromatic as she leaned in close to me. I could feel my eyelids drooping, but I was determined not to move. I stared ahead, comfortable in her warmth, and as our heavy heads met, I, too, gave in to sleep. Somewhere in my slumber, I seemed to hear from a far-off distance a gruff voice saying, "Honey, wake up! We have to leave now. The lights will be up in a minute." I awakened as the tall, bespectacled man roughly jostled her. She seemed groggy and didn't gather herself together as quickly as he had hoped. They stood to leave just as the house lights were coming up, and there in the cinema began a wave of, "Look, it's them," a murmuring that slowly built among the audience. The tall, bespectacled man hustled the woman quickly toward the aisle, tightly gripping her arm. She looked up and gave me a shy, bewildered smile as she pulled her fur coat close, rushing out, leaving behind only the lingering scent of that mysterious perfume. 2. Pinky, my mother. Freud would have had a field day with my mother. Her birth was greeted with disappointment by a father who wanted a boy. To his way of thinking, boys became men and men make money, while girls become women who take care of men and children. Her father did not believe my mother should waste her time or his by going to college. Yet she was fiercely intelligent. She read from morning to night and had a special love of English drawing-room mysteries. She was attracted not to the arts, but rather to the artists themselves and their bohemian lifestyle, the antithesis of her home life. She sought broader experiences, modeling for painters in her late teens and going to concerts and recital halls where she met my father. My father possessed an incredibly artistic spirit. He had an aptitude for painting, singing, and performing, but he lacked the confidence to pursue these talents. He conversed fluently in several languages and mastered both science and math, but the ambition needed to succeed in the business world eluded him. His greatest champion was his...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?